All right, let's talk about a huge shift happening in the PC world. For what feels like forever, Windows has been the default, the undisputed king. But something's changing. More and more people, especially gamers, are packing their bags and leaving. Today we're going to get into exactly why.
It all starts with a feeling, right? You've got this powerful PC, you spent good money on it, but it just feels sluggish, like you're driving with the handbrake on. Well, it turns out that's not just in your head. There's a growing feeling that the operating system itself is the one holding your performance hostage.
And this quote it nails it. This is the heart of the matter. It's not just about raw speed, it's about who's in charge. That feeling of being a guest on your own computer. That's the core frustration pushing people to look for something else.
So what does it actually mean to be a guest on your own PC? Let's break down the specific problems that are pushing even the most loyal Windows users to say, you know what, I'm done.
The list of grievances is getting pretty long. I mean, think about it. You've got ads popping up in your own start menu, updates that just decide to reboot your machine when you're in the middle of something important. Then there's all this AI stuff getting pushed on you, whether you want it or not, and behind the scenes you have constant telemetry sending data back to Microsoft, and just bloat, all this extra junk slowing your machine down. Each one might seem small, but put it all together and it feels like a death by 1,000 cuts.
And then this happened. A single number that says it all. When Windows 11 came out, they introduced a new hardware requirement, a little security chip called TPM 2.0. Because of that one rule, an estimated 500 million perfectly good, perfectly functional PCs were told, sorry, you're obsolete now. For a lot of people, that was the final straw. But for decades, no matter how annoying Windows got, it had one unbeatable trump card: gaming. If you wanted to play the latest games, you used Windows. Period. Well, that final frontier, that last thing keeping everyone locked in, it's finally fallen.
This right here is the moment everything changed. And we're not talking about a tiny little improvement. On the exact same computer, this game's performance literally doubled just by switching from Windows to Linux. The old argument that you have to sacrifice performance to game on Linux? It's not just wrong anymore, it's been completely turned on its head.
So how is this even possible? Well, the magic ingredient here is something called Proton, and it comes from Valve, the company behind Steam. Think of Proton as a kind of universal translator. It takes games that were built only for Windows and lets them run, often perfectly, on Linux. This one piece of technology basically kicked the door wide open.
And the result of that breakthrough is, well, just look. A whopping 85% of the entire game library on Steam is now playable on Linux. That massive barrier, the one thing that kept gamers tied to Windows for so long, it's been absolutely shattered.
Okay, so the biggest wall has crumbled. But what's life actually like on the other side? If you make the switch, what's the actual promise of Linux?
You can feel the difference in the first 60 seconds. When you boot up Windows, it's like you're immediately in a fight. Background processes are spinning up, telemetry is calling home, pop-ups are demanding your attention. But on a clean Linux install, it's just quiet. It's described here as silent perfection. The system boots up, uses almost no resources, and just waits for you. It's ready when you are, not the other way around.
And the appeal is so much bigger than just gaming. The core promises really come down to these four things. You get better performance because your computer's power is actually used for your stuff. You get total privacy because there's no forced data collection. You get full control, you decide what to run and when to update, and you get real savings. Not just because Linux is free, but because it can bring old hardware back to life, fighting against that cycle of planned obsolescence.
But this whole shift, it's about more than just a list of features. It goes deeper. It's really a fundamental disagreement about one simple question. Who should actually be in control of your computer?
This image perfectly captures the whole conflict. You have all these features that are sold to us as being for our security, but more and more, people see them as chains. Mechanisms designed to lock down your PC, taking control away from you and giving it to corporations. So let's take Secure Boot. On paper, it sounds great. It stops malicious software from taking over when your computer starts. The problem is, it can also act as a gatekeeper, blocking you from installing other operating systems that it doesn't approve of. It's basically telling you what you are and are not allowed to run on the hardware you own.
And then you've got the Trusted Platform Module, or TPM. The name is so misleading. It's not about you trusting your computer, it's about a company trusting that your computer hasn't been changed in any way they don't like. It gives them the power to block software from running if you dare to make unapproved tweaks to your own system.
And finally, a huge one for gamers, Kernel-level anti-cheat. To stop cheaters, this software demands the highest possible level of access to your PC. It watches everything your computer does. In effect, it acts like a piece of invasive malware that you install on purpose, and very often it just flat-out blocks Linux users from playing at all.
So, after going through all of this, the frustrations, the incredible performance gains, this whole battle for control, what's the bottom line? Is making the escape actually worth it? See, this whole migration from Windows to Linux isn't just some passing tech trend. It's a very conscious choice. It's the choice between being treated like a customer in a lockdown store versus being the owner of an open workshop that puts your freedom and your performance first.
And in the end, it all comes down to this one simple question. When you sit down at your desk, what do you value more? The convenience that a corporation offers you inside their walls, or the personal control to make that machine truly, completely your own?